Welcome back to Hot Take, everybody. Today we're in a 2019 Chevrolet Malibu, but it's not just your ordinary Malibu. We have Corey with us. This is Malibu. Corey, tell us why this car is special.
It is special because I decided to be unique and mod it. As stupid as that sounds, but it is currently lowered on Rev 9 to Street 2 coilovers with the wheels pushed out. So I have far better fitment in my mind. I love it. It's changed the ride quality completely. Outside of that, I have a lot of cosmetic things done to it. Waiting on a cold air intake. It's supposed to arrive today. Sadly, it did not get here in time to do the review, but we're still going to have a lot of fun with it. It still handles like a dream in my mind, and he's going to be reviewing it for today.
All right, with that, let's go and hop on the road and see how she drives. Okay. Drive, there's no manual mode in this thing, right?
You can.
Oh, there is?
Low. It's
Oh,
just
you
low,
have plus.
It's just a low sequential, little button.
Right, yeah, I see it now.
I did have the push up and down sequential mode in the Prelude, and I loved it. I wish this had it.
What transmission's in here?
It is a CVT transmission, actually.
Okay. So, you guys might be wondering why I wanted to drive a Chevy Malibu. Well, people always kind of ask, how much of a difference does tires and coilovers make? People do, cold air intake, exhaust, they'll do poly bushings, all these things. But a lot of people just neglect tires and coilovers. They think, oh, well, it's a less permanent thing. But I think that's a mistake. And I wanted to drive this car to prove that point. You have an otherwise what is just a normal family sedan, econobox. But you have nice tires, nice coilovers. And my initial impressions is actually it rides a little rough. How is the dampening of the suspension?
It's
like you're on soft mode, or
I'm on fairly hard actually. That's why it's riding so rough. So
okay,
in the
it's not terrible. It's just a little firm.
Yeah, I purposely have that because I'm stupid and I love my fitment to the point that I like to sacrifice a little bit of ride quality for fitment. So I do have it fairly hard in the rear and the front. I could honestly run softer in the front to dampen that a little bit, but
yeah. Well, I will say it handles really well, and I said it rides rough. It's not really that bad. It's just a little firm, especially I'm sure relative to the stock car. Brake pedal feels really good actually.
Yeah, I love my brakes. They feel really solid.
Are these stock brakes?
Yep, stock brakes.
Yeah. Yeah, this thing handles really well. So our friend Akul, he was following you and his GTI, right?
Yes.
He said he was struggling to keep up.
Yeah. So in the higher mile per hour range, it has its advantages for sure. He definitely he has stock wheels, stock suspension, so he was feeling not nearly as confident in the higher mile per hour ranges. So I was able to take off faster and more confidently than him.
Which is saying something because he's on Pirelli tires, which is stock, and the stock suspension on the GTI is really good. But honestly, driving this, the steering feels a lot tighter than that car, which is weird. I would not have expected that at all.
Sadly, I did not get a chance to drive the GTI before he moved, but we were trying to make it happen. Just didn't happen because after he drove the Malibu, he was blown away by it compared to his.
I'm kind of blown away by it right now. This feels really, really tight. We're on these smooth roads, are really good, and I mean, when you're not hitting any bumps, the ride quality is like stock. This is really solid. So the Continental tires we're on are classified as an all-season. It's not the DWS 06 Pluses. Which one did you say they were again? I said this like 100 times.
Control Contact something AS Plus, I believe.
Okay. These tires feel really good. And the one problem with the GTI and the Pirellis is that they're really great summer tire and track tire, but they suffer a lot in most conditions. Like now, there's a little bit of wet on the ground. You'd have to be a little careful.
This, you're grounded. You're not going nowhere.
Yeah, you're just on some nice Continental all seasons. Oh yeah. L3.
You're in fake third gear.
Fake third gear.
Because it's a CVT transmission, you're in fake third and fourth gear.
Yeah, this is very not ergonomic to shifting.
No, not at all. Let me just push a little button.
Yeah, you gotta like do it like hold it like that or like this, or maybe you could do like a little like I don't know, some kind of evil supervillain. You can like hold your hand here.
I try and make it like as natural as possible, and I'll usually sit there and use like the back of my palm and go up and down. But even that still doesn't feel like regular.
Feels really good around that.
Yeah.
Although this button is not very responsive at all.
No, it is not at all. I really hate it.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. I actually think this car would be a lot of fun if you had some paddles.
Probably. It's so much fun to drive with these kind of roads. Especially since I put on the muffler, I just love listening to it. It's nothing special, but for a Malibu, being able to finally hear the car is so nice. Because when I first got it, literally could not hear it at all. It was dead silent.
Right. Well, it's good. It's got a nice tone to it. I'm sure the cold air intake will help you more with that.
I'm really hoping for it to either enhance or even just stay the same.
Right. No, it's got a good feel. It is very the steering and suspension, everything. I mean, it's very very confident, very planted. And I don't know if you set this car up to look nice, but as far as how it feels like dialed in, it really does kind of fit the pacing of the car, and it has a nice rhythm to it. Obviously this hurts it a lot.
Yeah,
but
sadly.
Yeah, I'd like to hit some more turns here, but
we're stuck behind the Lexus.
Yeah, it feels really good. It feels really good so far from what we've done.
Buddy in Saginaw has that generation, and he has it on bags. He is touching the damn ground. What the heck?
Whoa. What was that?
I've never had to do that.
Didn't just break, did it?
No, I'm sure it's fine. The CVT just flipping out.
Wow.
That was so weird. Still feel fine?
I think so.
For mine, it doesn't feel different at all.
I guess it feels normal. Well, that's a little scary.
Yeah, that was really fucking weird. That's why I rarely fuck with the low, just because it has so much temperamental stuff.
Okay, we won't mess with it anymore then. Well, I was gonna talk about the power a little bit.
Yeah, sorry.
Nah, no worries.
It's still fun to gas it a little bit, just in drive though.
It is, yeah, it's very zippy. We'll throw into this turn a little bit. Oh no, rocks.
Not the rocks.
Not the rocks. Well, that's what having a daily's for.
Yeah, for real.
Hitting rocks. Unfortunately. It's just a Malibu with some suspension and some tires. Handles really good, and I think at that point transfers even more to performance cars, especially when you have a suspension that is already dialed in to an extent to do performance driving. You put cheap suspension on it, you're just gonna ruin all of that. You put in not even cheap suspension, but just suspension that isn't properly set up for the car. And that's all a car really needs. Also goes to show spending money on other things like poly bushings or engine mounts and all those sorts of things isn't really going to do you justice unless you have good suspension and good tires to complement the setup, because that's really what's going to make the biggest difference in how the car handles, how it rides, and just the general characteristics of it. The sound is alright. It's a little bit of a buzzy 4-cylinder, but not terrible. So this is EcoBoost. What was the displacement on this again?
Displacement?
Is it like 2 liters or 1.6?
Oh, it's a 1.5.
1.5?
Yes.
4-cylinder.
The LT, all those other trim levels, so the RS and the Premier were the only ones that came with a 2-liter.
Oh, okay.
I've heard people talk about a 1.8-liter variation, but I am not familiar with it. I have not seen those yet.
Yeah. Oh, right on. 160 horsepower it's fine. This gets really good gas mileage though. And I mean, for a Malibu, that's all you need. You just want the gas mileage out of it.
Kind of the point of the car. That's why I bought it. That was one of the main selling points.
Right. What was the manufacturer claim, and what do you get?
I believe manufacturer claim was 27 city, 36 highway.
That's really good.
My average currently, I believe, is 25 and a half.
Do a lot of fun driving.
Overall, yeah, man, I don't want to.
A lot of trips to Mexico.
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one.
Yeah. See how it does in this corner. Wow. Really well. It's very confidence inspiring. I bet, you know what's funny? I wouldn't do this because of the transmission, but I bet this would be a lot of fun on a track or autocross.
I have been looking into figuring out how I might manual swap it when the CVT transmission inevitably goes out.
Yeah.
But it is very hard to find a similar vehicle with the same engine with a manual transmission. Akul and I actually we spent like an hour researching different cars, and we instantly thought of the Cobalt, but they don't have 1.5.
And it won't hook up or anything, they're just too different?
Nope.
Dang. That kind of sucks.
I might have to end up doing an engine swap on it, which, oh darn.
Yeah. Oh no, we went for more displacement. You just Cobalt drivetrain swap it.
I could have, probably. It wouldn't be too far-fetched.
Well, I guess then it begs the question, why wouldn't you just buy a Cobalt? And just have a fun car and then have the daily.
This car.
Right? Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I do like the way it steers, it handles. It's got a nice feedback to it. The brake pedal feel, I already said this once, but it's got a lot of good modulation. You get into it. You got some good brake there.
Yeah.
If you tricked me, if you put me in a blindfold and told me to guess what car I'm in, outside of the rattles and maybe the sound, I probably wouldn't tell you we're in a Malibu.
That rattle is actually my little controller for that light panel. It just sits in the thing. I need to remove it. I need to pull it and like actually mount it somewhere. It's just sitting in my cup holder thing and it's rattling. That's what that is.
We've now finished our test drive of the 2019 Chevrolet Malibu, and now it's time to answer the big question. Do tires and coilovers make all the difference? If you've been paying attention in this video, you already know the answer. Absolutely. If you have any car at all, I think the most money you should spend on it should absolutely be in the tires and the coilovers. And you don't even need the best coilovers in the world. You just need something that works and is properly set up and tuned to the car. The way this is set up, and I don't know if you did this intentionally or not, you probably just throwing parts in there because you want it to look good, but it works. It works really well. And honestly, if you're a Malibu owner out there, you got one, you want to make it a little more fun, Rev 9 coilovers, throw on some Continental tires. There you go. Handles really well. Thank you, Corey, for coming onto the channel. Is there anything else you'd like to say about this car?
I think we wrapped it up. I think we're all set.
Alrighty, and with that, let's give it a score. Utility. The ride quality on this particular Malibu was firm, but not too harsh. There's lots of space for things and good room in the back. It gets a 5 out of 10. Features. The Malibu has the basics. Responsive touchpad, Bluetooth, good climate control, etc. The materials are lacking, there's cheap plastic everywhere, and it feels very industrial. It gets 4.5 out of 10. MPG. The Malibu is rated at 29 city and 36 highway with a combined of 32. It gets a 9 out of 10. Cool factor. There is a slight novelty to it, but at the end of the day, it's still a Malibu. I'll give it a 2 out of 10. Driver's feedback. The steering feel is good, and the suspension communicates well with the driver. Unfortunately, the transmission removes a lot of the experience and overall kills a lot of the fun. Because of this, it gets a 3 out of 10. Acceleration. 0 to 60 is 7.8 seconds, so it gets 2 out of 10. Should you buy it? The Chevy Malibu is a fine car. GM has posed some reliability concerns, especially with the CVT transmission. But it's inexpensive, and the coilovers make it pretty fun for what it is. I'll give it a 9 out of 15, putting it here on our list. Funny enough, it scores pretty well. The daily score helps it a lot. There's nothing super special about this car, but it has a charm. And when you throw around a corner, you're left with a slight grin on your face, which is not something you really expect going in. If you want to spice up your daily, I'd highly recommend some good tires and good coilovers.